Hello there. How often do you try and help others? And you might feel frustrated or confused or disillusioned in the process. Well, I've found that this is an extremely common theme. It's a common theme for me in my journey because I've always known that I wanted to serve others in some way, and a common theme for my clients who often get confused about where they end and the other person begins. Now, a lot of this confusion about how we are to heal ourselves and others is originates in early trauma when we're little kids. Now, it's no fault of our parents. They didn't know any better, but often a lack of knowledge and wisdom about how to nurture a new being is the cause of our enmeshment traumas. Our parents looked at us and they were taught to socialize us, to shape us and mold us into something that would be approved in society. So they didn't actually stop and really listen and attune to our own personalized needs. In fact, more than likely, our parents didn't even attune to their own needs because it wasn't mainstream knowledge, and it's just emerging now how important this is: emotional and mental and spiritual health, the whole integrated being. So you'll find that a lot of us really don't understand our own ability to stay in our own lane for allowing the most beautiful blooming of growth, healing, and transformation in ourselves and in others. Now, what we have tended to do, and I'm sure that you can relate to this, is we've been taught how to externalize our focus. So our whole life is looking out for approval and to be desired. It's people pleasing. It's seeking this self-worth, self-esteem, self-love from something in the outside world, a projected reality. I've talked about this before, but it's like looking in a mirror and trying to change the image that you see in the mirror. It's really in vain, isn't it? It's against the natural way of things, but we haven't been taught that. We've been taught this inverted form of healing, which is you look out into the world and fix that. And so this is no less in the way of helping others. A lot of us are chronic rescuers. So do have a look at my other video that I made about the drama cycle. And I go into detail about what the rescuer tends to do out of default, out of subconscious programming from a very young age, that they think that to gain their place in this life, to prove their worth, they must go out and rescue others. And if they're not rescuing others, they are driven by a deep guilt. This is their self-worth, an externalized form of gaining some feeling that they are worthy of being here. You can see how that might be unhealthy. And the other part of us externalizing our power is victim consciousness. And this is where we think that we are a product of the external world, and so we are therefore a victim to the external world. And this is another form of the drama cycle, another corner in the triangle. And so if you have been brought up in this victim consciousness, again, this is simply programming. And it was a way for you to survive as a child, to get your needs met. So a victim often blames, criticizes, judges, and externalizes all of their struggles and challenges so that they do not take any responsibility at all. And a rescuer will tend to be drawn to these people because it satisfies their need to be helping someone else. Now, I've talked extensively about this process. Now, you can see that we've forgotten the principle of correspondence. And this is another hermetic principle, a law of nature, that we need to remember. So the principle of correspondence, and I've mentioned this before, as within, so without, as above, so below. The micro is a reflection of the macro. The inner world is a direct reflection of your outer world. Okay, it's vital that you get this. Our external world is a direct reflection of our internal world. So that relationship you have with others is a beautiful mirror to show you how you are relating to yourself. And that's a very quick indicator of how much self-love, self-esteem, self-worth you are demonstrating. So this all leads, this behavior, this externalizing our power, giving it away, all leads to wandering off the path. You know, the path of realizing our true self, the big S self, the fully integrated being, spirit, body, mind. And this wandering off the path stops the spirit from being able to take the lead in your life, which is really what we talk about when we talk about becoming conscious or the awakening process or opening our hearts. A fully integrated being where the beloved spirit drives and takes the reins of control as a being in this life. So instead of doing that, we move into this illusory world of distraction where we're facing out of ourselves, and we move into distraction pretty heavily. And there's so much in the world to distract us, as you all know. Anything that keeps us looking out instead of in. And this creates massive stagnation as we move into illusion in our life. So it's time we remember the way things work in this reality, the laws of nature. We are the creators of our experience. Energy flows where attention goes. We're creating whatever we're focusing on. All we need to remember here is that we are one. Everything is there to serve us, to show us how we can integrate ourselves back to wholeness. This is the hero's journey. So all is here to mirror all those fragmented, shattered parts of us and bring us back to wholeness. So we really need to bring this right into our awareness every day, that everything happening in the external world is a direct reflection of what's going on in here, what needs to be healed still, what needs to be realigned. Instead of us moving into this illusion of separation, as we continue to gaze out into the world, looking for love, looking for connection, we move further into separation, further into illusion. So the beautiful and very clear signs that present in our lives are here to show us how far off track we've come. You know, how far have we wandered off the track that leads us to wholeness? And you will see these signs very clearly. It's not a mystery. It's not hidden. But these things in your life, these shadows, these triggers, these bad habits, these cycling, disempowering patterns and pain, these are all beautiful indicators provided to you to show you what needs to be healed within. So we are all unique and different. People are making the best choices available to them in each moment. I know it might not seem like that sometimes, and we like to think that someone could have made a better choice. Believe me when I say, we make choices based on our filters of perception. Our filters of perception are made up of our values. Usually what we were taught was important, not even from our heart. Our values that we were programmed into believing were important. Our filter system is made up of our beliefs. And these another whole set of beliefs are usually from programming. They're given to us. They're handed down through the family line. Struggle, pain, suffering. Life is hard. You know, money doesn't grow on trees. You've got to struggle to make it. You've got to work hard. All of this kind of survival, fight, flight, freeze belief system that keeps us small and afraid. These form part of our filters of perception, how we see the world. And of course, our filters are also made up of our memories, our traumas. Stuff that happened to us in a moment where part of us just went, I can't handle this, and disappeared and hid and kept us stagnating from continuing to grow and evolve in that point. So there's millions of parts of us that have shattered that need to come back to create a whole being again so that spirit can take the lead. And so we need to remember that everyone is operating through this filter system, and every single person's filter system is completely unique to them. There's no two filter systems in the world that are the same. So when I say that we're making the best choices we can in each moment, we truly are. We would only ever make the best choice for ourselves in each moment. But for one person looking at another person making a choice, it might look like a really bad one, but that's all they know. And that's what you might have the insight to have learned something that they haven't learned yet, but they need to learn that themselves. We need a direct experience to gain that wisdom and understanding. And so we need to remember to stop judging others for the decisions they make. Stay in your lane, as I mentioned. If you would genuinely like to reduce the confusion and the pain and the suffering cycles that keep seeming to go round and round in your life on repeat, you genuinely want to reduce all that noise so that you can really focus on becoming a whole integrated being, then heed this wisdom, okay? Stop externalizing and giving your power away in the name of others. We're only doing ourselves and them a dishonor. You are not the hero of someone else's life, and nor should you be. You are the hero of your own life. So allow others to be the hero of their own lives. This is true sovereignty, and this is respect as well. So stop draining your power and in this pursuit of helping and changing others, okay? It doesn't mean that you're not going to be of service to others, and I'll go into that in a moment. So come back to yourself. Come back to your hero's journey, yeah? And then we can change the world. And you'll notice very quickly that you'll positively transform those relationships in your own sphere of influence very, very quickly as soon as you start to come back to you and create this new inner focus instead of this outer focus. So allow others to see. This is allowing others to see their own mirrored shadows manifest without you blocking them and rescuing them and distorting the picture for them and hijacking and sabotaging their process of healing, thinking that you know best. No. So this is an organic process of healing we must respect in each person's journey. So one must spend time in darkness. I just did a video about this. If you are on the genuine quest to open your heart, you have to walk through the shadows. You have to see them. You have to witness them. You have to observe them for them to be dissolved in the light of observance. And that can be uncomfortable, but you need to respect that everyone has their own hero's journey, their own unique shadows they have to walk through in perfect, intelligent presence in their life for a reason, in that exact precise moment and timing that they're experiencing it. And you cannot sabotage this process by rescuing and thinking that you know better. So one must spend time in darkness to go through this process, to be able to be reborn with a new understanding, a new understanding and clarity about who you really are, who we really are. So this is the hero's journey I keep talking about, okay? So this will allow others also the sovereignty to face the root of their illusions in their own unique way towards that healing and integration of self. Wholeness, wholeness. When we stop interfering, someone can really truly walk that path. So I kind of made up a metaphor, allow the nutrients of the tree in someone else to produce that beautiful whole apple without you interfering with that growth process. That seed had to start in the dark first to create enough friction to want to reach up into the light to come out, to create an apple tree in the first place. Okay, so you've got to allow that process to unfold in its timing. The nutrients, however, you can provide for that person. And let me tell you about the nutrients you can give each other. We can give each other in this beautiful shared journey of healing and remembering who we are in wholeness. The nutrients are holding space for each other. I'm talking about presence and acceptance, loving presence and loving acceptance. We're not trying to change anything in another person. We're not trying to problem solve for them. We're holding space, which means we're there with them. We're not trying to block them. We're not trying to distract ourselves from the experience they're going through in the moment. We're not trying to judge it as good or bad. We're not trying to label it. We're not trying to put it into an agenda or a process. Not doing any of these things. We are surrendering, letting go, and just being present with that person as they experience the shadows coming up on the noble quest to know thyself. That is the nutrients we can help each other, feed each other to be able to really reach that full wholeness. This is the role that we can play in each other's lives right now. Very important. Our rescuing others or assuming we know what's best for them can only ever be our own lens or filter of perception, our own subjective perception of what we think they need. It's not right usually at all. We'll never be able to do this work for another. So the best thing you can do in reverence and love and respect for someone else is just be loving, present, aware, and accepting of where they're at. And you stay within you. You stay in your power. And you honor yourself and you honor them. And you don't get in the way. You allow the growth, evolution, and transformation that needs to take place. And it's really beautiful when we hold this space for each other. So I hope this has been helpful for you. I know it's easy to want to help others, but we must respect each other's sovereignty in this process. And it's a lot less noisy for us when we let go of all of this rescuing programming. Just let things be. Love does its own way of healing and transformation. It's just love. So if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share, and have a beautiful day. See ya.